guys, so right now we're going to be talking about one of the largest animals in the squirrel family, and that is a groundhog. Right here is my friend Bonnie, and you can see that she's eating one of her very favorite snacks. So groundhogs go by a few different kinds of names. So groundhog is one of the most common, as well as woodchuck. I like to call them food hogs when they get their favorite snack because they don't want to share their food. So, with groundhogs, something that's really cool with them, as well as a lot of other types of rodents, which is the type of kind of species that they are, they have what's called, they have incisors, which we have also. It's the 4 top teeth and bottom teeth that me and you have. And if you could see while he's eating, he's using those. Bonnie's teeth are a lot larger than ours, and you can see those 2 big ones right there. There she is showing you her big teeth. And what's different about hers is that while our baby teeth fall out and then our adult ones stay in, hers never fall out and they actually continue to grow and grow and grow. So they might look big now, but if she were to let them keep growing, they could go probably all the way down to the ground. For groundhogs to keep their teeth from being too long, they eat a lot of really hard things. So you might see them eating things such as wood or twigs, and that's just to make sure that those teeth don't go all the way down like that, because then they can't eat. If you can see her hands right there, holding on to her favorite snack, which is corn, you can see really long nails. And now that's not for scratching people or really for defense. That's really to help them kind of dig in the ground, because groundhogs really like to be under the ground in things called burrows. So burrows are kind of like tunnels under the ground. That's their home. And their burrows are super complex and can be really, really big. They can be up to 5 car lengths long. And a lot of times, the burrows have up to 2 rooms. One is like a living room, like we have, where they just hang out and chill, and the other one is completely separate, and that's a bathroom. So burrows are really important for these groundhogs because these are one of the types of animals that like to hibernate. And hibernating is when animals go to sleep for a really long time, and it can be months and months and months. And they do this when it's really cold. And so you might notice that my friend here, Bonnie, might look a little bit chubby. And that's because groundhogs, whenever it's hot outside, like to eat as much as they can so that when it's time for them to hibernate and go to sleep, they don't have to wake up to go eat. They can use all of the extra fat they're getting from the food so they can keep sleeping. Another really cool thing about groundhogs, if you look at her ears right there, they look kind of small and flat. So that's really important because since they spend a lot of time underground, you're going to want really small ears so that you don't get any dirt in them. So her ears, when she wants, can also kind of flatten down. So it kind of closes up so no dirt can go inside. Which is good because I wouldn't want any dirt in my ears. It would probably be a lot uncomfortable. So Bonnie also has really cool, really long whiskers, which you might notice. These help her when she's underground and in dark places kind of sense surroundings. So they're kind of like sensory organs, and they will feel the different kind of vibrations and things like that. So you guys might have heard of a holiday that revolves solely around these types of animals, and that holiday is Groundhog's Day. So every year on February 2nd, people will go and look at these animals as kind of weather predictors. This started with a groundhog named Phil in Pennsylvania. So the whole myth goes is that on February 2nd, if you guys see a groundhog, and that groundhog Phil pops his head up and stays, and if he sees a shadow and goes right back into his burrow, there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter. But if it's cloudy out and he doesn't see a shadow and he stays up, that means that spring's going to come early. With groundhogs, they are what is known as herbivores. So what an herbivore is kind of, in human terms, a vegetarian. So they, for the most part, will eat things like fruits, vegetables, plants, things like that. Oh, that was a nice yawn. So, and things like that. So usually they don't eat any kind of meat or anything like that. These guys are vegetarians. And you can see just how much they enjoy their food. So this one is Bonnie. Bonnie has a brother named Clyde, and they live here together. Although these are usually pretty solitary animals, which mean they live by themselves, these two have grown up together as brother and sister, and they just really enjoy each other's company. I always think it's so silly to see just how funny they are when they eat, so we'll watch them eat for a little bit. While she's eating, I'll just tell you a bit about Bonnie. In the wild, these guys can live about 6 to 8 years, and she is currently 4 years old. And just like humans, sometimes they can yawn, they can burp with what we just saw her do. If you do notice, when she eats and she kind of lifts her chin up, that's just to kind of help her swallow the juices that are coming from this fruit, because right now she's eating a nectarine, and those are pretty juicy. Alright, so we're going to go let Bonnie get back to the rest of her lunch. So the next animal we're going to be talking about is what a lot of you guys might know of as a trash panda. We're going to be talking about raccoons. So the raccoons that we have today to talk about include this guy right here named Godfrey, and this one over here named Little John. You might notice that these raccoons are a couple different colors, and that's completely normal. In the wild, raccoons can range from various different types of colors, from kind of reddish light brown colors, such as Little John, to a kind of darker gray color, like Godfrey. There are also other types of raccoons, such as albino raccoons, which are white with red eyes. But the most common raccoon that you guys have probably seen in your neighborhood and in your backyard would probably look like this guy. Raccoons also come in different sizes, so you can see that these two also look very different weight-wise. So raccoons can be anywhere from 12 to 30 pounds, and you can see Little John's on the smaller side, and Godfrey, our big guy, is definitely on the big side. So raccoons eat a big variety of food, and there's a reason why they're known as trash pandas. They are called omnivores, and that means they pretty much eat anything. They eat meat, bugs, grubs, fruit, vegetables, and they like to go inside your trash to see if there's any yummy treats, which is why you guys might see them digging around in your trash cans. So, if you guys look closely and you can see them kind of moving around with their hands, that's because their hands are one of the best things that they have on them. They use their hands kind of as a second pair of eyes. And this is good because these animals are out a lot of the time at night when they can't really see things. So they'll grab things and kind of move their hands around and rub things around so they can kind of see what it is and feel what it is without having to look and see what it is. So if you look at their face, another thing that they're really known for is the mask that they have. The black circles around their eyes. And this is more than just a mask and for show. This also is to help them see at night. So the black coloring around their eyes, similar to why athletes might put black paint under their eyes, it absorbs light, so it kind of reduces the glare and the light that goes in their eyes, and this helps them see a lot better during the nighttime. So another really cool thing about raccoons is what you can see Luke doing right now, and it's their feet. Same with Godfrey. This is called plantigrade feet. So just like humans, raccoons can stand on their back feet totally flat, and if you could take a look at his feet right there, you'll see that he's able to stand completely fine when he wants to with his feet flat. And this is because they have bones very similar to human feet. And this allows them to stand, if they want, just like this. To stand up, to be able to get kind of more food and more snacks, because as you can see, these guys love any kind of snack. So with plantigrade feet, this allows these animals, just like it allows humans, to stand up on their back legs, just like that. Let's see if, and he wants to do it as well. There are a few animals that can actually do this, and raccoons are one of them. Another type is primates, which includes monkeys and bears. And this is all because of the bones that they have in their feet. Raccoons are also incredibly good swimmers, and a lot of times they like to be in water, and this is another time that it's really good that they use their hands, because they're able to try to find a lot of the treats and the food that they want, and even can go fishing just by feeling with their hands. So you can see Godfrey here feeling around for those treats in this water. And this is also a good way for them to cool off during the day when it's really hot outside. You can see right now it looks like Luke was kind of washing the grape. So raccoons are known for kind of dipping their food in water, washing it around, and it might be them kind of washing it off, but it also kind of helps activate the senses in their hands so that they can figure out what things are even more often. So by putting their hands in the water and rubbing it around, they're able to figure out what they have in their hands. So you guys might have noticed some cool toys around here, such as something like this. We like to include these inside the raccoons' daily activities because raccoons are incredibly smart animals. Raccoons, especially with puzzles, can figure them out so quickly, and they can not only figure it out, but they can remember how to do a puzzle for up to 5 years. And that doesn't matter if the puzzle, is upside down, inside out, if it switches around, they can figure things out and remember it. They are incredibly smart animals. And now we see another one of our raccoons named Luke. He's also a little bit more gray than them, and he's also on the smaller side. If you can see also, if their fur looks a little bit strange, it's because raccoons get winter coats when it gets really cold to try to help them beat the cold. And once it starts to get hot, like right now, it's called blowing out. And so you can kind of see the back half of him still has that kind of winter coat look, and the front half of him is a lot more sleek. And this is just to help them with the environment and to make sure that they are able to stay cool during the summer and hot during the winter. So in the wild, raccoons live about 2 to 3 years. But in captivity, such as these, they can live up to 20 years long. These guys here are all brothers and sisters, and they're all around 10 years old. So it's really important to remember that although these 3 raccoons seem really friendly, in the wild, they're not very friendly. It's important not to go up and touch them. I'm able to do this because I helped hand raise these animals, and they've been around humans their whole entire life. But in the wild, they can get really scared, and it's really important to just leave them alone if you see them. So now we're going to let these raccoons continue to play in their pool and enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll move on to our next animal. Our next animal up for show and smell is a skunk. And I would have a little more jokes about this kind of animal, but they all kind of stink. So speaking about smells, which is what skunks are most known for, we'll go into some of the things that they do. So when you think of skunks, I'm sure you think of the really gross smell that is related to these skunks, which is one of their defense mechanisms. As you can see, skunks are pretty tiny animals, and they don't have a ton of other ways to defend themselves. So what better way to defend themselves against predators, which are animals that might want to eat them, than by having something that smells so gross. But their spray actually does a little bit more than just smell. If directly put into the eye of one of the animals that might be trying to go after them, it can temporarily blind them, allowing these animals a chance to get away. Now, skunks don't always want to spray. That's actually kind of their last resort. They do other things to happen before they spray, because once they do that really gross smell, they kind of have to have it reload, and they aren't able to spray for a good amount of time, sometimes up to 10 days. So there's a couple other ways that skunks will try to let predators know, hey, get away from me. One of the things they might do is stamp their feet. They just stamp their front feet on the floor, and it kind of makes a kind of slapping noise on the ground. They stamp their feet just like that. Lift their tail right up and stamp. They also might do that hard enough that they can go into a full-on handstand position. And this just might make them look a little bit scary to a predator, and they might go away from that. So skunks are incredibly common in North America. You guys might have seen them walking around in your backyard or even at Camp Wamp. This skunk's name is Penelope. If you haven't seen a skunk, it's not because they're not there. It's because skunks are nocturnal, which means that skunks like to go out at night. If you do see a skunk in the daytime, though, that doesn't mean that something's wrong. That just might be a mama skunk who's going out to try to search for food while her babies are sleeping. Or the skunk might just want to be outside during the day. It is important, however, if you do see a skunk, even at Camp Wamp, that you do not go and try to touch him. Even though Penelope here seems really friendly and is not trying to bite or spray me, that's because we've had Penelope since she was a little baby. We got Penelope when somebody found her by herself. She was abandoned by her mom and she needed someone to help take care of her, and that's what we did here. Because of that, she's really, really used to humans and she really likes them. But in the wild, skunks are not used to humans and we're very scary to them, and that could lead them to bite you or to spray you, and that's something that we don't want because that would scare you and the skunk. So Penelope and all skunks have incredibly good noses. They can smell things underground. And that's why you might notice Penelope on the ground sniffing around. She's over here looking to see if she can find any treats or bugs that might be under this ground. So she'll sniff it out and then she'll use her big claws that you might notice that she has. Right here are her feet. And these claws and these nails are perfect for digging around in the ground to try to find worms. Here we have Penelope showing us just how good she can dig. You can see how powerful those long nails are when it comes to the dirt. Penelope has 2 white stripes that go from her head all the way down her back. These stripes help show predators or animals that might want to eat her that she can be potentially dangerous. And these are actually pointing to her greatest weapon, which is the skunk spray. This is kind of an arrow to those animals saying, hey, if you mess with me, you're going to get sprayed. Not all skunks have those stripes though. Some skunks are known as spotted skunks. And just like their name says, instead of stripes, they have white spots all over their body. There are a lot of people that don't really like skunks, and that's because skunks can be incredibly smelly. And while it is understandable, they are really smelly when they get scared, skunks actually do a lot for our ecosystem. One of the main things that they really enjoy is eating a lot of pests that we don't want around. So especially at Camp Wamp, you might notice, there could be some mosquitoes and worms and spiders and even mice. These are all things that skunks actually really enjoy eating. I'm sure Steve and Lizzie would actually enjoy a few more skunks at Camp Wamp. Skunks also are really helpful to people who have gardens. Not only do skunks like to eat a lot of the things that eat the gardens, such as worms and caterpillars and snails, they also get rid of things like spiders. Thanks for hanging out with me and Penelope. I'm going to let her go down so she can dig some more. And if you guys have any questions about the animals, now's the time.